Hi everyone, I'm Hayley. I'm always in the craft room and welcome back to another Friday Sews. I have been very busy in the craft room this week. I've got 2 completed items to show you and some plans to chat through. So let's get started with my new Imby's flowy top. This is a pattern from Apparel, and I have actually done a full pattern review for this because I am so thrilled with it. It's a free pattern. It's unfortunately only one size, but if it is your size, honestly, don't hesitate. It's just lovely. I'll show you a couple of details, but I won't go into too much because, as I say, another full video is coming. I might have done it actually. So we've got this gorgeous detail at the back with a little tie. There is a flat yoke on the front. You actually can choose when you do it whether to have the opening at the front or the back. They're different pattern pieces, but they're both included. These lovely flowy sleeves, which I opted not to line because I thought that gave a nice illusion. And yeah, I'm so thrilled with how it turned out. The instructions are not the easiest to follow, but they were perfectly adequate if you've done a bit of sewing before. And yeah, thanks for a fantastic free pattern. The other thing I've finished is what I'm wearing, and it is a French Navy Roscoe sweater, and it is in this gorgeous fluffy boucle. I think, would you call it a teddy bear fabric? I don't know. But I bought it from Jenny Stitches, and it's so snuggly and warm. I've already worn it every day since I've made it for some portion of the day at least, and the zip went in so nicely. Really pleased with it. I have made 2 of these now, and this one I did make with some changes from the first one. So I'm going to do a full pattern review of that, showing you both my versions as well. So look out for that coming soon. But yeah, my new Roscoe half zip sweater. In the works at the moment, we have this dress. I started this last summer and I just got very cross with it and gave up basically. But the weather's changing and it was time to pull it out and see if I can rescue it. So there's 2 issues with it really. Firstly, I'm not loving the colour anymore. It's a broderie anglaise. And I love the colour in theory, but I don't know, it's giving me like hospital gown, scrubs, old-fashioned nurse's uniform vibes. And this sleeve situation is just, I mean, it's hilarious. I started with just a short sleeve and that really did not look nice at all. So then I decided to add a ruffle. That just looks full on comedy. It's terrible. So I've been debating what to do. I have got a ruffle ready to add onto the bottom. That's all. I did a rolled hem on my overlocker and it's beautiful. It's all ready to go, but I had just lost it with this dress. I just couldn't faff with it anymore. But you know, we're going to give it another go. And the problem is the sleeves, so I'm going to take them off. And then I was looking for a sleeve pattern I could substitute because this bodice is one that I traced off a ready to wear dress. So I don't actually have a sleeve pattern because I don't know if you've ever traced something off before, but unless you fully take it apart, I don't know how you would do a sleeve. So I just borrowed a sleeve from a different pattern, and there's actually no issue with that. It fitted into the armhole fine. The issue is I don't like the style of it short sleeved and I don't like the ruffle. But what I did think would make it a very useful dress and maybe counteract the medical vibes was a long sleeve. So last summer in the UK, it was not particularly hot. We had a couple of really, really warm weeks all stuck together, and then the rest of the summer was just quite drab, really. The year before, the whole summer was just one long massive heat wave, and we were all absolutely sweltering. So 2022, I made all the sundresses, like all of them. And then last year, when the sun didn't really come out, I didn't have much to wear because everything I had was for sweltering weather, and the weather was cooler. So actually, a long sleeve but cotton dress might be really useful if this year it is slightly cooler again, because I'm all set for sundresses. I don't really need any more. So yeah, long sleeves is where I'm going, but I had a look through my pattern stash to find something where I could just borrow the sleeve, and I came up with what I thought was a genius idea. So you might have seen a new free pattern by Notches called the Odell dress, and it has gorgeous, gorgeous puff sleeves. They're so fabulous. And I thought, a nice big puff, a bit structural, something a bit different. Since the fabric reads from a distance as quite plain, I thought a feature like that might be great. So downloaded the pattern, printed it off, cut out all the sleeve pieces, because the way this puff sleeve is constructed is different to anything I've seen before, and it's a series of panels. I'm going to grab you the pattern pieces and show you what I mean. So here are all the pattern pieces. I know, it's a lot, isn't it? And you attach one to the other, and then end up with a fabulous puff sleeve. Now, let's take a look at this dress. And let's take a look at the shape of this sleeve. Oh, let's go back and look at the line drawing and the pictures of the finished Odell dress. Yep, it's a raglan sleeve. How did I not notice that? How did I stare at that sleeve for so long and go, that is fantastic, that is amazing, that will look great on that dress, and never twig? This is a satin sleeve. This is a raglan sleeve. So yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Back to the drawing board. Or back to the free patterns. I also recently downloaded a Tiana's Closet pattern called the Lally dress, and that has, again, stunning puff sleeves, but this time they are actually satin. I've downloaded that. I'm going to print them off, I'm going to stick them all together and then see if it works, basically. I have seen a few people talking online about Tiana's Closet patterns and mentioning that she includes seam lines and cutting lines for every size. So I must remember when I print it to use the layers function and only print my size. What are the chances I'm going to remember that? Pretty slim, I think. Anyway, I've got loads of this fabric left, so that's the idea. 2 new sleeves, attach them, maybe put the ruffle on, maybe not, and we'll go from there. But this needs to come out of the work in progress box. So speaking of the work in progress box, some of you might have seen a recent tidy up of my stash that I did. And I went through every piece of fabric and marked it off a spreadsheet that I keep to make sure that what I thought I had was what I had. And once I'd got everything folded and put away, I took my clipboard, which had my printout on, and looked, and there were some fabrics that I had not highlighted and put in the stash. Most of them are behind the camera in a big pile on the craft room sofa. but one of them was missing. Hadn't gone back in the stash. I knew I hadn't used it. It wasn't on the sofa of doom, but when I went in the work in progress box to pull this out, I found said fabric and it was already cut out. How amazing is that? So I've got a pair of trousers ready cut out that I'd completely forgotten I'd done, just ready to go. But wait, it gets better. My other next project also happened to be navy blue. So I can thread everything in navy blue and then whiz up my trousers, which are already cut out. I've done all the hard work, all of the thinking, all of the flat bottom adjustments. And straight after that, I can get onto my next make, which is going to be the Georgia's Portfolio Mellow Dress. But I'm making it as a top. So I've been following Georgia on YouTube for a while. If you've not seen her channel, she's fantastic. She is a 20-something fashion designer who lives in Brisbane, Australia, and she does the best vlogs, just like following her around. And it's so much fun to live vicariously as a youngster once more. She's really enjoyable and also very talented because she releases home sewing patterns. So this is the first one from her that I am trying. I have printed and taped and cut out, but as I say, it's a dress pattern. I'm making a top just because she does a series on YouTube called Designer Diaries, where she walks you through the whole process of designing a sewing pattern from start to finish, and it is intense. It's a lot of work. And as she was figuring out some design details, she made a top just to test like the fit around the shoulders and things, and I loved it. I don't actually want the dress. I don't think I will make the dress because I've got to say her patterns are on the skimpier side, which is not necessarily for me. I'm so pale, I try to avoid the sun. I know I don't live in Australia, but even so, even the English sun is too much for my fair skin. So I don't think I will be making the dress, but the top version I thought could be fantastic for pairing with some wide leg linen trousers. It is a bias cut pattern, and I've never cut anything on the bias before. I have avoided it because when I've tried on bias cut things in the shops, I've always hated how clingy they are. So I think with just a top, and I'm planning to do it quite cropped, it will be okay, but watch this space, we will find out. And I'm also hoping if I like it, it's going to be great for using up some remnants, because even though it is bias cut, it's a sleeveless shell top, so it doesn't take a lot of fabric. And either last year or the year before, I went a bit crazy with the Ogden cami from True Bias, and I made all of my smaller pieces of leftovers into Ogden camis. And while I really like them and I like the pattern, as I say, I prefer a little bit more coverage from the sun. So on a really hot day, I actually don't really want to wear them if it's really sunny, because I just think I'm going to burn. So that wasn't the most sensible thing I've ever done, but they do look great with cardigans. And I have crocheted a cardigan, which I love, which I'd like to make again. So they won't go to waste, but I'm looking for a new pattern. This has quite a high neck, so protects your chest from the sun. We will see how it goes. But yeah, they're the forthcoming plans. Sort this dress out, navy trousers, navy top, and it is from a deep stash remnant, so I will be pleased to get rid of that. Speaking of the stash, so pleased to have got this out of it. It really is starting to reduce in volume quite dramatically. So if you too have been feeling a bit overwhelmed by your stash, my top tip is use up all the sweater knits. Forget those slinky little rayon chalets that fold up to virtually nothing. Work on the bulky stuff. And once that's gone, you'll feel a lot better. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's Friday Sews. Thanks to Jen from Today and Jen's Sewing Room for starting the hashtag, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye. No. Oh, let's take these squeaky shoes off. Hi, everyone. I don't need to shout anymore. I've got a mic. So we've got Imby, Roscoe. I'm trying to think if I've got anything else to tell you.